Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. General Hospital spoilers. Ned sets up Michael to find Drew and Willow kissing. General Hospital spoilers tease that Michael Corinthos, Chad Dell, has no idea that his uncle, Drew Quartermain, Cameron Matheson, and his wife, Willow Tate, Caitlin McMullen, have kissed on two separate occasions. Michael is already beginning to doubt Drew's intentions because Drew chose Curtis Ashford, Donald Turner, instead of him as acting CEO of Aurora Media while he's on the campaign trail. Ned Quartermain, Wally Kurth, has already told Michael that he doesn't trust that Drew wants what's best for the family, or ELQ. Michael implied that he still trusted Drew, which led Ned to ask what Michael would do if he found out Drew wasn't the man he thinks he is. Michael admitted he would change strategy when it came to the family business, potentially siding with Ned over Drew. That's music to Ned's ears, who certainly wants to retain a position of power in the family business. James West, Gary James Fuller, was visiting the Quartermain mansion with his mother Maxie Jones, Kirsten Storms, and had a moment alone with Ned where he dropped a bombshell. James explained that he heard Willow admitting to Nina Reeves, Cynthia Watrous, that she kissed Drew, and it made her sad. Of course, James is too young to understand that since Willow is married, she shouldn't be kissing another man besides Michael. Now that Ned is armed with this information, the question is, what will he do with it? Michael likely wouldn't believe him if Ned told him about the kiss. So Ned might have to manipulate the situation by arranging for Drew and Willow to be alone, somewhere remote like the boathouse, and then send Michael after them a few minutes later. There's no guarantee that Drew and Willow will give in, but it seems likely at this point. Michael might show up just in time to watch his uncle and wife in a compromising position, just as Ned hoped. Will Ned simply tell Michael about the kiss, or will he arrange for Michael to see for himself? Will Micah and Ned team up against Drew over the fate of ELQ? Anything can happen in Port Charles, so stay tuned to General Hospital, airing weekdays on ABC. In the world of Port Charles, secrets have a way of coming to light. And when they do, the fallout is never simple. This time, it's Michael Corinthos who stands on the verge of a betrayal that will shatter his world. And the mastermind behind it. None other than Ned Quartermain, a man with his own grudges, determined to protect the family legacy and rid himself of the thorn that is Michael. Ned's scheme. Ned has always prided himself on being a Quartermain, a man who fights to keep the family business in the right hands. Over the last few months, Michael has become his biggest obstacle, not just professionally, but personally as well. The animosity between them runs deep. Ned sees Michael as reckless, power-hungry, and, worst of all, disloyal to the family. But when it comes to his grudge against Drew Kane, that's where the fire burns brightest. Drew has always been a wild card in Ned's eyes, someone who should have never gotten as close to ELQ's operations as he did. And with Drew's budding romance with Willow Tate, Michael's wife, Ned sees an opportunity. If Michael were to find out about Drew and Willow's illicit affair, it would be a devastating blow, one that could wreck Michael's marriage, tarnish his pristine reputation, and distract him long enough for Ned to make a move on ELQ. For days, Ned has been discreetly watching Drew and Willow, catching glimpses of their growing bond. What started as innocent concern between friends has shifted into something more complicated. Longing glances, accidental touches, lingering moments that speak to the tension neither of them has fully acknowledged. Willow, for her part, has been struggling with Michael's increasing obsession with power and control, pushing her closer to the stability Drew provides. That's when Ned hatches his plan. He knows Michael's routine like clockwork. Michael's been consumed with both ELQ and his father Sonny's turbulent world, leaving little time for Willow. If Ned can set the perfect trap, timing it just right, Michael will walk into a scene he never saw coming. Drew and Willow in a moment of passion that will change everything. The setup. Ned pulls strings behind the scenes, ensuring Michael is tied up with a fake emergency at ELQ. He convinces Olivia to send a message to Michael about a sudden board meeting crisis that requires his immediate attention. Of course, Ned knows Michael won't find anything but an empty conference room when he arrives at the Quartermain mansion. Meanwhile, Ned also orchestrates a situation that brings Drew and Willow together. He arranges for Drew to visit the Quartermain estate under the pretense of needing to discuss a business deal involving Aurora Media. Willow, having grown closer to Drew, is already at the mansion, using the quiet space of the gardens to reflect on her increasingly strained marriage. As Drew arrives, there's a palpable tension in the air. Ned makes sure that the staff are nowhere to be found, allowing for complete privacy. The stage is set, and all that remains is for the players to fall into their roles. The betrayal. In the lush, serene garden, Drew and Willow find themselves alone, the air thick with unspoken words. Drew, torn between his feelings of loyalty to Michael and his growing affection for Willow, tries to keep the conversation light. But it's impossible. Willow is raw, vulnerable, and the pain of feeling neglected by Michael has worn her down. I don't know if Michael even sees me anymore," Willow confesses, her voice barely a whisper. Her eyes are filled with unshed tears, and Drew can't help but step closer. "He loves you, Willow," Drew says, though the words sound hollow even to him. Willow shakes her head, looking down. "Maybe. But love isn't enough when you're invisible to the person you're supposed to share your life with." Drew sighs, his heart aching for her. They've had this conversation before, skirting around the edges of their feelings, both afraid of crossing a line they can't come back from. But today, something feels different. The emotions are too close to the surface, and the proximity, the intimacy of being alone together, makes it harder to resist. "I see you, Willow," Drew says softly, his voice thick with emotion. The words hang in the air between them, and in that moment, everything changes. Drew reaches out, gently brushing a strand of hair from her face, his fingers lingering against her skin. Willow doesn't pull away. Instead, she closes her eyes, leaning into his touch, craving the warmth and comfort he offers. It's a moment of pure vulnerability, and before either of them can stop it, Drew pulls her into his arms. Their lips meet in a kiss that is both tender and desperate, the culmination of months of suppressed feelings. For a few seconds, nothing else exists, just them, lost in each other, in the safety and solace they've found together. Michael's discovery. But Ned's trap is about to spring. Michael, after arriving at ELQ and realizing the crisis was a setup, decides to head back home, his mind still preoccupied with business. He's been distant with Willow lately, but in his heart, he still loves her. What he's not prepared for is the scene that awaits him. As he enters the garden, his world comes crashing down. There, in the soft glow of the afternoon sun, Michael sees his wife in another man's arms. Willow, the woman he thought was his partner, his confidant, his anchor, is kissing Drew. And not just any man, Drew, the man he once considered family, the man he trusted implicitly. For a moment, Michael is frozen, his brain struggling to process what his eyes are seeing. The betrayal hits him like a tidal wave, knocking the breath from his lungs. His fists clench at his sides, and a mixture of fury, heartbreak, and disbelief courses through him. Willow and Drew, caught up in their moment of passion, don't notice Michael standing there, his eyes burning with rage. It's only when Michael clears his throat, a sound filled with menace, that they break apart, both of them turning to see the devastation written across Michael's face. Michael, Willow begins, her voice trembling, but it's too late. The damage is done. The fallout. Michael's world has been shattered, and Ned watches from the shadows with a small, satisfied smile. His plan has worked perfectly. The Quartermain family is once again in turmoil, and with Michael distracted by personal betrayal, Ned is one step closer to reclaiming his position at ELQ. But as the dust settles, one thing is certain: nothing in Port Charles will ever be the same again.